you're working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little rest, stop and rest. If you can keep it going, keep it going. Just making sure that you're not going into fatigue, you're not overloading yourself or creating pain in the joints. Use your props. So if you've got the ball is good, or you can always use a pillow and then a band. It doesn't matter if it's elastic or not. It could be just a belt, a towel, just something that you can use to help you supporting, especially the legs. Just give a little guidance to the legs if they are a bit temperamental. So setting up your neutral as you're seated or laying down. If you're seated, same as usual. See if you can avoid compression at the front. As we sit down, we tend to slouch. If I slouch down, I'm compressing down, creating problem for the diaphragm, which is not going to be able to move as everything is so tight inside of the abdomen. So trying to encourage a little bit more space and trying to sit up a little bit taller. So give myself a little support, activating through the center, and then just allowing a little bit more space for the diaphragm to move. So I don't need to use my intercostal muscles, I don't need to use my neck muscles, I don't need to stiffen up through the top of the body. If you're laying down, just letting the mat guide you, just let yourself relax down onto the mat. And then see if you can start getting into a nice, relaxed breath. So I'm going to breathe in, feel the belly expanding out, the ribcage expanding with the breath. And then breathe out, I'm just going to relax. I'm not trying to push the belly out on purpose, I'm just trying to let the breath do that. So I'm going to inhale, I'm going to expand out. And then exhale, I'm going to relax. So see if you can be aware of any tension up at the top, any tension through the collarbones, in the neck, in the jaw. As I breathe, feel my chest is raising. Can I try and calm the breath down? Can I try and relax, so soften through the chest and let the breath drop down into the abdomen? If you're lying down, just allowing gravity to do the work. As I feel the breath is a little bit more relaxed, then see if you can just focus on the body a little bit. Imagine to be running a scan through the body. So how do I feel? Is there any tension anywhere? Is there any niggle or any pain anywhere? Is the pressure the same? If I'm sitting down, is the pressure under my seat bones the same, or does it feel as if I can feel more pressure on one side than the other? Is the body centered? If I'm laying down, is the pressure at the back of my arms and at the back of the legs the same, or is it different? Is the head in the middle? Is it slightly to one side and I'm slightly turning? I'm not changing anything. I'm just trying to notice where everything is and how it feels to begin with. And then as I feel a little bit more relaxed, the breath feels a little bit calmer, a little bit softer, then I'm just going to start focusing on the neck. Keeping the shoulders still, I'm going to turn the head to look over the right shoulder, and then I'm just going to hold it there. See if you can reach the end of the range, no pain. See if I can turn it as far as I can, until I can feel a little stretch that comes down the side of the neck. 5, 4, 3, 2, stay there. Take a deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, to see if you can go just a little bit more to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last time, deep breath in. As you breathe out, making sure that the shoulders are not following. See if you can turn just a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back to center. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. I'm going to try the same thing, turning the other way. So turning to look over the left shoulder over the other side. I'm going to try and get as close to the end of the range as possible and then hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, to see if you can squeeze a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Deep breath in. See if you can go a little bit more. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release it back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, moving the head gently from side to side. And then changing the direction of the stretch. Still keeping it to the side, but instead of wrapping it around the side of the neck, I'm going to bring it right down the very side of it. So this time, imagine to be taking your right ear down to the right shoulder. So I'm going to flex to the right. The tendency here, if the neck is stiff, is to try and move the shoulders. See if I can keep the shoulders relaxed. It's the head that is moving to the side. I don't want any pain. Just a little tension that from the back of the ear comes down the side of the neck, which is over the top of the shoulder. If you feel that the stretch is okay, so it's not too strong, it's not painful, then with the left arm, see if you can reach down the side of the body, creating a little bit more traction down the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then ease it back. Returning the head back to the middle, keep the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to try the same thing going the other way. So left ear to the left shoulder. I'm just going to allow the head to get used to the position, the neck to get used to the position, noticing if there is difference between the right and the left side. And then if I want to make the stretch a little bit stronger, then with my right arm, I'm going to reach down the side of the body, creating a little bit more traction from the top of the shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it back. Returning the head back to the middle again, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. And just retesting the movement with the neck. So I'm going to turn to look over the right, turn to look over the left, noticing if the movement feels easier, maybe a little bit harder. I feel that I can go further, but I feel maybe it's catching a little. I'm not forcing. And then as you finish with the last one, returning the head back to the middle. We're going to take the rotation from the neck into the thoracic spine, into the upper back. So this time I'm going to turn the head to look around to the right shoulder, and then I'm going to rotate to the right. So if I'm sitting, I'm going to try and turn as far around as I can. As if I'm trying to look who's behind me, then easing my way back, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. If I'm laying down, as usual, I've got the floor below me, so I'm limited with the amount of movement. So I'm just going to swing. I'm going to swing the shoulders and the arms over to one side, and then I'm going to swing them the other way. So from side to side. From side to side. And then as you keep that rotation going, see if you can focus the breath. If I exhale as I turn away, the rib cage softens, so it's easier to turn. If I inhale, if I breathe in when I turn away, the rib cage stiffens up, so it makes it harder. So see if you can think of exhaling your way around, inhaling your way back. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. I'm going to try and mobilize the thoracic, the spine, in a slightly different direction. I'm going to try and go into flexion. If you've got the ball or the pillow, I'm just going to kind of like roll the pillow slightly if it's too big, and then I'm just going to rest it against the breastbone. I can use the hands as well. It's just the ball, it kind of like gives you the idea of the shape. I'm going to rest it in there, and then imagine to be taking the shape of the ball. So what I want is for my thoracic spine to start going into a little flexion. And then I'm just going to ease back. So think of a nice gentle opening that from the center of the rib cage spreads out towards your shoulder blades and then up into the neck. So I'm going to try and open everything out as much as I can. Ease some of the stiffness from the back of the rib cage. If you're lying down, as you have to lift the head off the ground, one hand I'm just going to pop it on the head, and then the other hand is going to go on the ball or on the pillow. So I'm just going to try and rock my way around the ball, and then I'm going to let myself relax. 5. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. And then from flexion, I'm going to retest my rotation. So same as before, I'm just going to tend to look over the right, and then I'm going to rotate to the right. Over to the left, rotate to the left. So if I'm laying down, same as before, rocking gently from side to side, from shoulder to shoulder. If I'm seated, same as before, turning from side to side, noticing if the movement feels any different. Again, for better or worse, I might find that I can turn easier on one side, it feels different on the other. I feel that it's a little bit better on both sides, the spine is allowing better movement, it doesn't feel so restricted, it doesn't feel so tight. I don't need to work so hard at getting around that way. 4. 3. 2. Last time. And release it back. Again, relaxing the shoulders. There's a little bit more movement into the thoracic. I'm going to change the direction of the movement one more time and then see if I can start getting some work into the shoulder, into the arm too. I'm going to tap the pillow, tap the ball between the right arm and the right side of the rib cage. So I'm just going to squeeze it there. And then from there, same as you did when the ball was in front of you, imagine to be taking the shape of the ball, but this time doing it sideways. So I'm just going to go around the side and then ease back. As you move to the side, as you move into that shape, see if you can, with the arm that is holding the pillow, holding the ball, squeeze in gently. So see if I can try and activate into the side of the waist, to see if I can try and get to work into the obliques, into the side of the belly, the QL, into the QL, into the lower back. So I'm just going to squeeze, the shoulder is working as well. Think of the left side of the rib cage opening up and lifting away. And then I'm just going to ease back. And then if you feel comfortable enough with the movement and you want to make it just a little bit stronger, then with your left arm, if you're seated, you're going to reach up and over. So creating a nice stretch all the way down that side of the body. If I feel that my shoulder is a bit stiff, I'm just going to leave the reach. If I'm laying down, I can support the head, move to the side, then reach to the arm, support the head, come back to the middle, and then try again. Move to the side, head down, reach the arm, come back to the middle, and then starting again. 3, 2, the last one. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders again, adjusting the back, allowing the arms to come down the side of the body, whether you're lying down or seated. And then see if you can take just a few breaths here. See if you can notice the difference between the right and the left side. So the left side, the side I was reaching with, I was opening with, it should be feeling a little bit bigger, a little bit looser. So the breath should be easier in this side that I've stretched than it is on the other side that I've been compressing and tensing with. So I'm going to repeat the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to pop the ball or the pillow under the left arm, and then taking a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to flex into it, see if I can take the shape of the ball, and then squeeze it gently in with the arm. Then releasing, and then trying again. 2, 3, 4, 5, making sure that the shoulder is dropping away from the head so the neck doesn't feel as if it's stiffening. 6, and then same as I did on the other side. If I feel that I can have the reach with the arm, then I'm going to flex to the side, reach, long stretch out, and then I'm just going to come back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and releasing back. Releasing the arms down by the side, pushing the block, the ball, the pillow to the side, allowing the arms to relax. Again, allowing yourself for just a couple of breaths. The 2 sides should be feeling a little bit more balanced than now. I'm going to see if I can start focusing further down into the back. So see if I can start getting some movement into the lumbar spine. So think of everything happening into the lower back this time. I'm going to start off with a little pelvic tilt. So I'm just going to roll back onto the back of the seat bones. Imagine to be dropping your tailbone into the chest. I'm going to let myself slouch, and then I'm going to try and pick myself up. Then I'm going to let myself slouch, and then I'm going to pick myself up. So see if you can feel the pelvis rocking gently forward and back. The curve on your lumbar spine going into flexion. So curving backwards first. And then see if I can breathe forward again. So see if I can direct the movement down at the bottom of the spine. See if I can try and loosen up. See if I can try and ease off some of the tension, some of the stiffness that might be there. So the upper back is staying lifted, the chest is staying open. If you're on the mat, even easier, you've got the floor guiding you. So I'm just going to tilt the pelvis back, pressing the lower back gently into the mat, and then forward back into neutral. So tilting, and then releasing the tilt. Tilting, and then releasing the tilt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, adjusting the hips, resetting the hips, resetting the pelvis to the center. And then from a little anterior posterior tilt, I'm going to a little hip hitch. So same as you did with the ball, think of the tension in the side of the belly. So I'm going to tighten up on the right side. I'm going to pull my right hip towards the right side of the rib cage. Then I'm going to come back to center, and then I'm going to tighten up on the left side. Come back to center, tighten up on the left. So this time it's not the upper body that is moving, it's the hips that are moving gently side to side. So think of a little pendulum going from one to the other side. So if you're lying down, the back of your hips stay flat against the floor. If you're sitting up, imagine to be taking the pressure off one of the seat books. I'm going to try and hitch up on the right, ease back, hitch up on the left. I can keep my hands on the chair to give me a little bit of stability and find that lift. And then if I feel that I can, I might just try to let go with the arms and then see if I can still create that little tension that is going to allow one seat bone to pull away slightly and then ease back down. Pull away slightly on the other side and then ease back down. And then same as you need for the forward and back. The movement you should be feeling reasonably easy and quite nice, massaging the lower back as I'm just gently rocking it side to side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the hips, releasing the back of the pelvis is a little bit more movement into the lower back too. I'm going to start focusing a little bit more on the hip and on the shoulder joint. Starting with the shoulder joint, we're going to start off with a little bit of a down wider, so just opening up gently across the front of the chest, working into the rotator cuff, so the stabilized muscles of the shoulders. I'm going to bend the elbows, turn the palms to face towards the face. I'm going to tuck the elbows in and then imagine to be reaching your elbows down into your hips. So I'm going to plant the elbows down into my hips and then I'm just going to start rotating the arm out and then rotating it back. The tendency, if there is restriction on the shoulder, so if I'm a bit rounded shoulder a bit forward, is to wanting to let the elbow slip behind or let the arms pull away. So if you can try and encourage a nice lifted upper body, the elbows are pointing down, the shoulders are dropping away from the head. It doesn't matter how small or big the movement is, I'm just going to try and see if I can let it happen on both sides evenly. If you're on the mat, you can use the back of the arm as a guideline on the floor and then just rotate out on it and then rotate back. Just don't let the elbows move away from your waist, so making sure that gradually the arms are then spread out wide so you can keep them tucked into the side of the body. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then from rotation I'm going to go into a little bit of a lateral raise. So one arm at a time, I'm just going to swing one arm out to the side, swinging it towards the head, and then to the side, I'm going to come back. Then with the other arm, I'm going to do the same, and then come back. The same, whether you're lying down or sitting up, if the shoulder is grinding, so I feel it's painful for my shoulder, then I'm going to allow the swing to come forward slightly, so I'm going to keep it a little bit shallower. If I find that the shoulder is okay, then I'm going to keep it as wide as possible. Just making sure that you're not forcing, so there is no pain. I'm just going to try and swing around, and then come back. Big wave to the side, and then coming back. If you're sitting, the arm will tend to feel heavier as you're working against gravity. So if you feel that the arm is getting a bit too heavy, and I feel that my neck starts stiffening, I'm really tightening up to that side, just having a little rest, and then try again when you're ready to start again. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and release it back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to try and combine the two movements that I've been playing with. So I'm going to go back into that down weight, so I'm going to tuck the elbows, squeeze the elbows in, really try to focus on the back of the shoulders. If you can make the back of the shoulder work, the bottom of the shoulder work too, the big dorsal muscles, the big lats work too. So I'm going to tuck the elbows in, I'm going to rotate out as much as I can, and then from here I'm just going to reach my fingertips to the side of the room. So I'm going to open up nice and wide. Now see if you can go back to that original position. So keep the rotation into the arms, squeeze the elbow back into the side of the rib cage, and then I'm just going to turn them back to the front. Then I'm going to try again. So I'm going to turn them out. I'm going to reach them out. I'm going to pull them in, and then turn them back to the front. 3 more. So I'm going to rotate out, reach them out, squeeze them close, and come back to the front. 2 more. Rotating out, reach them wide, pull them in, and then back to the front. Last time. Rotate out, reach them out, pull them in, and then back to the front. Releasing the arms, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, allowing the shoulders, the arms a little rest. I'm going to focus on the hip, focusing on the legs. First thing, I just want to try and get the hip joint moving. So we're going to try with little circles. So I'm just going to grab hold of the band, use the hands if that's comfortable enough. And then just to think of your thigh bone as if it was a massive pencil. So the tip of the pencil is the front of the knee, so it's my kneecap. With that pencil, I want to draw circles in front of me. So I'm just going to start going round and round into that circle. It doesn't need to be a massive one. It's just a little one, but see if I can be aware of the top of the leg, just gently moving into the hip joint. So see if I can try and find a smooth movement, especially if I feel that the hip is very kind of like locked. If you can think of breathing. So I'm taking a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to try and relax and then move. Then I'm going to breathe in again, out, relax, and move. So see if I can try and, again, calm down the body, allowing the hip to let go, so that the leg can move into the hip joint, encouraging a little bit of release of the stiffness of the tension that might be there. From that, lying down, then the legs will be slightly lifted. I'm going to keep my circle. I'm going to try and reverse the circle going the other way. If I need a little rest, I'm going to take the rest. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing. Relaxing the hip, allowing the leg a little rest, allowing the arms a little rest. I've been supporting the weight of the leg if I've been moving the leg. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to repeat the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to switch the band to the other leg. Give myself a little support if I need one. Use the hands if I'd rather use the hands. And then I'm just going to try to see if I can focus on that circle. So softer and softer. So you can think of letting go every time that you go to that next circle. So again, picturing the head of the femur, just turning gently into the hip socket as if I was trying to massage the inside of the hip socket to the back of the pelvis. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to try and reverse the circles. If I need a little rest, I'm going to take my rest. And then I'm going to join in again when I'm ready to do so, if I'm ready to do so. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. So hip joint feels a little bit more oiled. It's moving a little bit better, it's moving a little bit more. I want to try and see if I can get the muscles around the hip to switch on, to take the leg in different positions. So I'm going to start off with the inside of the legs. So I want the adductors, so the inner thigh, to do the work. I'm going to put the ball between the knees, pillow, or if you're quite happy, you can just squeeze the knees together. It's just like if the knee is quite hard, you need to be uncomfortable. And then once the ball is set, I'm just going to try and focus on squeezing it between my knees. So I'm going to try and squeeze it as hard as I can. And then I'm going to ease that tension. Think of a little pause. So I'm going to squeeze and just pause slightly. And then I'm going to ease the pressure, let go. On that little pause, see if you can be aware of the tension running through the inner thigh. But also, especially if you're sitting up, a little tension running to the front of the belly, helping you to stabilize the hips while the legs are squeezing into the ball. And then I'm just going to release that pressure again. And then same as usual, I feel that my right leg is responding well. My left leg is struggling. It doesn't want to squeeze. It doesn't want to do the work. I'm just going to use the hands to guide. So I'm going to use the hands to guide the legs closer together. And then I'm going to slowly come back. I'm going to use the hand or both hands to guide the legs closer together. And then ease back. 4, 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, relaxing the hips, giving the inside of the leg a little bit of a tap, a little bit of a wrap, relaxing the inner thigh. And then I'm just going to move on to the side of the hip. So if I've got a rubber band, it's a little bit easier because the band has got a give. If I've got a strap or a belt, I need to set it a little bit better. If I don't have any, I can always use my hands. So it doesn't really matter if I don't have a band. I'm going to bring the legs nice and close together, and then I'm going to tie the band around the knees. I can hold it with the arms, but if I want my arms to have a little rest, then I'm just going to put a little bow or a little knot to hold it in place. If the band is stretchy, I can get it quite tight, as it's still, there is a give into the band, so it'll be easy to open and close. If it's a strap, I need to keep it just a little bit loose, so not too tight around the legs, so that I still got a little bit of a play, pushing out into the band and then easing back. So I'm going to put the band around the thigh, close to the knee, but not on the knee joint, or I'm just going to use my hands onto the side of the leg. And then I'm just going to push out into the band at this time, and then I'm going to relax. So this time, see if you can be aware of the tension traveling up the side of the leg towards the side of the hip. And then I'm just going to relax. So I'm going to squeeze out and then ease back. And then same as I did for the squeezing in, if I feel that one leg is working, one is struggling, or both are struggling a little bit, then I'm just going to guide. So with the hands, I'm going to try and encourage them to push out, and then I'm going to ease back, out, and then ease back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. This time in the side of the hip, a little tap. And then I'm going to undo the band. So pushing the band, pushing the strap to one side. I'm going to go into hip flexion this time. So yeah, we might still need the band. So if the leg doesn't respond too well to the hip flexion to come up and pull away from the ground, then I might use the strap behind the thigh so that I can use the arm to again guide me in that movement. So going into the little up and down, I can use my arms as well. It doesn't matter if the foot doesn't pull away from the ground completely, just to see if you can be aware of a little tension or some kind of like at least a little bit of a twitching into the front of the hip. So I want the front of the hip to tighten up and pull on the leg, and then I'm just going to relax. Tighten up and pull on the leg, and then relax. So see if I can try and find a connection. Picturing that muscle that goes from the thigh, crosses into the pelvis. I want that muscle to tighten up and pull the leg. Tighten up and pull the leg. Again, especially seated, see if I can still feel a little activation around the belly, into the core, into the center, so that I feel supported as I'm trying to pull out on the leg. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So switching the band around the other leg if I need to use the band, and then I'm going to try the same. So picturing the front of the hip, tightening to pull your thigh towards your chest, and then you're going to relax. And then same as I did on the other side. There might be a lift, there might not even be a lift, but see if I can just be aware of that tension, a little twitching right into the front of the hip. If I can try and look for it, imagine it, see if I can see, picture it, short and intense to create that little lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing. Relaxing the hips, releasing the legs, giving the legs a little shake, relaxing the front of the hip, the front of the thigh. And then we're going to finish off with a little activation into the back of the leg. So if you're on the chair, I'm just going to bring the feet a little bit closer to me. And then imagine to be wanting to lift off the chair, to stand off the chair. So I'm going to push down into the soles of the feet. I'm going to lean forward into the legs. And then see if you can try and think of both of your seat bones pulling away from the chair. And then I'm just going to ease my way back. So if I feel that the legs can support me, I'm going to actually physically lift off the chair and then sit back down. If I feel that the legs are a bit unstable, I'm just going to maybe use the arms to see if I can put some weight into them and then ease my way back down again. So see if you think of the legs like two strong pillars pressing into the ground. So however small my movement is, that they're going to support me. They're not going to give way, they're not going to back up. If you're lying down, same as usual. Pushing down into the soles of the feet, squeezing up into the hips to see if I can get into that nice full hip extension. And then I'm going to ease back down again. 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, relaxing the hips, releasing the legs, giving the legs a little shake, a little tap. And then if you're lying down, rolling over onto your side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting, finding your comfortable sitting position. So as usual, leaning against the wall, a sofa, just make sure that it's something that is not going to slide off and let you fall. Finding a position for the legs that I can sit on without my hip tightening, without my hip suffering. And then finding the seat bones to see if I can lift myself up, the same as we did at the beginning, think of creating space. And then this time, instead of just creating space at the front of the belly, think of creating space all the way down the front of the body, all the way to the front. I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to start lifting up through the chest, pushing the chest forward, lifting it up, the shoulders drop down. I'm going to look forward, I'm going to look up, I'm going to look back, and then I'm going to release. I'm going to let the chin come down to the chest. I'm going to let the shoulders come forward. I'm going to roll it down slightly. And then I'm going to lift up again, pushing the chest forward, nice space to the front of the belly, nice space, nice lift to the front of the chest, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing, coming forward, tucking the chin, rounding the back of the neck, rounding the upper back. Last time. Extending up as much space to the front as you can, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing, coming forward. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take a bow, give yourself a clap. Well done. Any question or anything as usual, please.